1 o'clock on the dot. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Titans starting to make some roster decisions as they have released tight end Josh Wiley, running back Jordan Mims, running back Jamar Jefferson, wide receiver Mason Kinsey, quarterback Trevor Siemian, wide receiver Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver James Prochet, offensive tackle Jalen Duncan, tight ends Thomas Odukoya and Drake Dabney, offensive lineman Brandon Jameis, defensive tackle Cam Horsley, and safety Kendall Brooks. Adam Schefter also reported earlier today that the Titans will place running back Tajay Spears on the short-term IR as he recovers from the ankle sprain he suffered in preseason. Spears will miss at least the first 4 games of the regular season. Titans have until 3 p.m. today to trim the roster down to 53 players. In other NFL news, the Bengals and edge Trey Hendrickson have agreed to terms on a $14 million raise for 2025 to end his holdout. Hendrickson will still be scheduled for free agency after this season, but his salary is up to $30 million for 2025. He has totaled 17.5 sacks in each of the last 2 seasons. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
With Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Tennessee Titans are making some roster cuts. I'm going to go through them real quick if you have not been paying attention. Of course, yesterday we have the 16 from yesterday. I think I'm going to skip those for now. If you listen to the show yesterday, because we got to get through a lot of them. So here we go. Josh Wiley, waived. Jordan Mims, waived. Jamar Jefferson, running back, waived. Mason Kinsey. This is classified as released by PK, but I think he may be waived. We're trying to figure out all the standards and rules that need to be met for
take
sure.
Us through what that means.
Well, a release and a cut means they don't have to go through waivers. Now, waived means you have to go through waivers, and that typically, according to the research, means you have to have 4 accrued seasons. Now, there's a difference between accrued seasons and credited seasons, and there's a difference between how many you need for waiving and how many you need for benefits. And I'm trying to go through the CBA. You get me lost right there. Yeah. Right there. I'm trying to go through CBA to figure that out. So I got to make sure. I just wanted people to hear that part, though. I'm going to try to figure that out in between breaks by word searching the CBA. Trevor Siemian released. Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver, waived. The surprise here to me is James Prochet. He was released, and he does meet those requirements regardless of what they are. Jalen Duncan, waived. Thomas Odukoya, tight end, waived. Drake Dabney, waived. So 3 tight ends were waived. 3 tight ends are likely to be kept for the Tennessee Titans. Brandon James, released. Cam Horsley, waived. Kendall Brooks, waived. And Carlos Watkins, released, according to these reports. So we still got a few to go. I have not counted those, so I need to count those here shortly and figure out how many we still have left. But the cuts are rolling in. James Prochet was an interesting one. We've talked a lot about how if they keep 7, James Prochet would be the one. He's made the case all through practices. He's made the case in games. But I think there's a little roster trickery when it comes to this that they are trying to do. And sometimes when a veteran is cut that does not have to go through waivers, you have a little bit of a handshake deal.
They don't do stuff like this.
Yeah,
no
you know the NFL, straight above board, where they're like, hey, we're going to put you on the practice squad. What's interesting about Prochet is that because he's a vested veteran, if he were to play week 1 as an active member of the roster, not practice squad, but an active member of the roster, his salary becomes fully guaranteed. Week 2, it does not become fully guaranteed. So he's got to play week 1. So this is kind of a little bit of roster magic that I didn't take into consideration when we were talking about all this, but makes sense that they'll likely he'll sign to the practice squad. He'll likely be called up. And maybe that buys Chimere Dike, who Bones Fossil said just last week, He's not ready to be punt returner. Buys him some time to maybe.
He did start him in the game, though.
It didn't look.
I mean, it was, he caught them, so it just looked a little shaky, like he was a little unsure. But that comes with getting more reps in live action naturally. So that one there, I'm interested to see how this all plays out because they may could even find a receiver returner that they like even over Prochet. So you just never know. That's why when you're talking about maybe behind the scenes deal or handshake deal, it's not a deal until it is a deal. And I mean, so you just never know. I mean, I've seen guys being told that you have made the roster, then 24 hours later, they're not on the roster. This is the final group of guys, and especially everybody knows who the final 5 guys are or 3 guys or whoever it may be that made the roster, then they're not there. So it's tough sledding. It's big time business, and you understand it's a cutthroat business. So you just never take you just never know and don't assume anything at this point in time, especially a guy like Prochet who's kind of now bounced around a little bit, who's been in the league a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I felt he earned a spot, but a lot of this is roster math, right? I've heard that they want to pick up 2 corners. Well, if you pick up 2 corners, 2 additional corners, or you pick up 2 corners and only cut one of your current corners, there's a spot. Well, Tajay Spears also is going on IR, so there is a roster spot open up for the Tennessee Titans, but they may need that for a running back. So sometimes roster math just doesn't work out in your favor if you're a back end of the roster kind of guy. And for James Prochet, it's probably a little bit of, just financial accounting, I guess you could say.
Anybody get released on other teams that kind of piqued your interest?
There were some. Guess what? Marty Mapu did not get released. Mike Vrabel is keeping him.
Yeah, thanks for me. He heard you. Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened. I ruined it for us. I do think that there was a guy that got released this morning. I'll have to go back and remember his name because I think it's Marlon Tuipulotu.
Oh, you're talking
the defensive lineman from Kansas City.
Yeah, I saw that too. D tackle, correct?
Right.
Yeah, D tackle. I think Callahan.
And they're cutting a lot of their defensive tackles that were kind of borderline. So I wonder. We set 5.5. Or I did, when talking to Easton and Justin Mello, 5.5 waiver claims tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
I think it's going to be a little bit. I think you should be taking the over. Really? I think they're going to go for a guy like Trey Palmer that got cut, who got drafted, wide receiver out of Nebraska, right, or Wisconsin.
I remember watching him.
Nebraska. And he's a returner too.
I liked him coming out.
And I think he just basically they have drafted a lot of wide receivers, and I think he's a victim of excellent depth over there at Tampa Bay. But when he was targeted in games by Baker Mayfield these last 2 seasons, he's shown up. Mm-hmm. He's returned 18 punts last year for Tampa Bay.
But is he what DK is supposed to turn into?
I think so. So then you can't go that route. But if you're talking about James Prochet's not making the roster, but hey, I would have been kind of curious if maybe you choose Trey Palmer over James Prochet and carry 7.
Yeah, younger guy. Yeah.
Isaiah Land just got cut apparently, and he is he's a defensive end. And that's a guy that kind of piqued my interest at Senior Bowl. He hasn't really lived up to. See, here's the thing.
Where was it? Where did he go? I don't remember.
I'll have to.
Coming out of
I am blanking on where he went, and I should know because I'm seeing the mascot in my head, which is in Florida A&M. That's what it was. Florida A&M.
Okay.
And he was a guy that kind of piqued my interest, but he's a guy, let's be honest, that was drafted or was an undrafted free agent for the Indianapolis Colts. And he's got 1 sack over the last two seasons, 6 tackles, 7 tackles combined.
Is he undersized?
He's huge.
Is he?
Yeah, he's 6'4", 235, but he's got long range.
What, 235?
Yeah, I mean, he's light there, but he's got the range and the reach.
He's got the range and reach. Okay.
And he's a guy that could be versatile inside and out, but he's a guy that couldn't catch on there. And it's just, that's the balancing act with all of this. is that when you're talking about these guys that get, like someone asked today, Isaiah Foskey got cut, who was a edge rusher out of Notre Dame a couple of years ago, and he was with the Patriots, and he got cut. And someone's like, why did he get cut? Does he suck? Well, it's like, well, he's not good. You don't cut good edge rushers. I'm not saying that he sucks, but like you don't cut good edge rushers, right?
Well, we could say this. It could be a numbers game.
Could be.
Palmer got released, and I think he's, back in most rosters. I mean, at wide receiver. So, if he's been in the league 1 or 2 years, you're always fighting for your life to be on the roster when you're that last guy in the rotation or trying to upgrade as, Coach
Okay,
Mack
so this is a surprising one that Jackson just said. So, Jackson, since you said it in my ear, I'm going to let you go.
Okay, since I've never got to go with mine, but go ahead.
No. Surprising cut. Sorry.
Oh, by the Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ali Gay just got cut.
Oh.
And so, we haven't heard about Jalen Harrell being waived yet. So I don't know. Maybe they thought Jalen Harrell was going to make the team, but I don't know. I'm a little surprised by that. Now, I'm not surprised. Maybe they're going to do this, Blaine. Maybe they're going to cut down below 53 roster, because you don't have to have a 53-man roster going into waivers. There's been many teams that cut more than are required.
That is true.
But to give them a chance to go through waivers, to get claimed, to get picked up if they want to. But that one was a little surprising, I have to say. Sorry to interrupt you on that.
No, that's perfect. No, that was great because it was breaking news, really. Ali Gay, I mean, man, can you find somebody better than Ali Gay? I mean, I'm not saying he's great. But
it's a risk.
It is. And not to say they can't, but it's just like, ooh, man, he must have did something they really didn't like. Like he might have started, I call it the patty cake. The baker's man. Yeah. And the patty cake is like what Jackson does every day when he comes in here and he don't want to do nothing. He just stands there and stops and just patty cakes with the offensive lineman and just like, oh, I'm trying hard, but I'm not. No, he's really exhausted and he needs to go to the sideline and let somebody else come in because that's a waste of rep and that's on film. And so I believe maybe something like that because the guy, he looks the part. He looks like he could be a rotational piece, but I'm sure maybe there's some other guys out there. But it was a guy that I saw. It was just one guy so far, and this was earlier today. And I tried to do a little bit of research on him because I remember him coming out. And I wanted to ask you about him because I don't know if he went to any of these all-star games or anything like that. But he is a corner who was 3-time All-Big 12.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. I was going to say Isis Waxter, who's another guy that I remember coming out that I like.
And so he has
Kobe Bryant.
He's like a 6', 185 guy. And I think he was like second or third team All-American. I remember watching him and the other corner. They had a decent defense at that time. And I was just like, man, and he was with the Falcons. So I'm wondering if somebody down there saw him.
See, that's the thing. It's those kinds of cuts.
Man, this guy's right there in front of you. Did you not see him? I mean, like, did he just look bad? I mean, what happened? I mean, I just would really be curious about what happened. When you're an All-American at Kansas, I mean, in any form, and 3-time All-Big 12 or something, whatever he was, it was something like that, 2 times.
No, I think it was 3 times.
It's
really good player.
This guy's got something. What'd you say?
Really good player.
Yeah, you think he's got something. Doesn't mean he's going to be successful, but, man, all the guys we cut, I would think he could be right there in the mix at the back end of a roster.
So just looking at the Falcons depth chart real quick, Mike Hughes, who they just signed from Detroit, is starting opposite of A.J. Terrell.
Right.
And then you have D. Alford in the slot, Billy Bowman in the slot behind him, who's probably going to make it. He had a really good week. And then you have Clark Phillips III behind Mike Hughes and Atrone Brooks behind A.J. Terrell. So those are guys that have been around the team already, besides Billy Bowman Jr., who they just drafted in the 4th round. So Kobe Bryant, and I know they have C.J. Henderson behind him, but like Kobe Bryant, victim of the numbers game.
Right.
Sometimes that happens, and so you look at it.
Undrafted. He was undrafted, so obviously there's something missing with all the Big 12 and All-American that maybe it's a speed thing or just I don't know. I feel like, man, I would maybe want to take a flight. I just need to look at him closer. But, man,
here's what you ask, right? Like you ask, is Kobe Bryant better than Gabe Jeudy-Lally?
Right.
Would we rather be developing Kobe Bryant, who maybe we liked in the pre-draft process, but we just couldn't make the draft work? Maybe he chose the Falcons over us in undrafted free agency, right? Because they can do that.
I think he's
And-
an outside guy,
Yeah.
too, by the way.
6
Not
foot,
inside.
180 pounds.
But when you see him, I went even on his IG account and checked him out. He's a long-looking, thin guy. Like, he would be outside. I mean, so
He ended up with the 4.53, which is about average for a cornerback.
oh, dang, that's what I ran.
Yeah, so 2.60 20-yard split and a 10-yard split of 1.56, which are both all considered good for cornerbacks. Not great, not elite,
Right.
but good.
But with his length, his arm length,
Yeah.
I think that kind of compensates a little bit. But, man, I'd love to see him. I wish I was at the Falcons practice and watching him, knowing that he was a possibility to get released. Oh,
Well,
man.
they're down there, right? So, like, again,
saw 'em.
when you're watching them, is that a guy that you like, okay, we've seen Gabe Jeudy-Lally now for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Kobe Bryant 1 week in a game down here at Atlanta. Is he better? Can we do more with him? And I think that's just what you're looking for, right? Like, you're looking for these guys that are just either, do I feel more confident that we can get something out of them that other teams couldn't, or are they already better than what we have? And that's a decision. Like, I know Mike Bergonzi and Chad Brinker have talked that they've said they've watched every preseason game this year of other teams, not just obviously the Titans, but they sit in a room and watch every preseason game. And I'm sure they have contacts for some of these plays. You say, well, what about this
Do
guy?
you think
or
that
this
somebody
guy?
would pick up Gabe Jeudy-Lally? Because he did have in the slot.
Yeah.
Maybe got a sack and things of that nature.
And maybe, but like, is that the risk you take because you're like, well, I like Kobe Bryant better? See, that's the thing. You don't cut a guy without having a plan. Like Ali Gay getting cut.
that's
no,
easy
I know
for me.
that's what you're saying, but
But, like, do they fear that somebody's going to pick him up and then they get him and then all of a sudden they don't like him?
yeah,
Well, you make that
because you don't know
decision.
what the mentality
Yeah,
is.
right. I think this guy's got the mentality. I think he's an outside guy. I think you could then push Brownlee inside, but maybe they just want to keep Brownlee on the outside to start the season, and then they go, But this guy to me could be Brownlee's backup,
Yeah,
and then you're now securing if you want to. You say he has to be on the roster.
yeah, he has to be on the roster. So
and
here's
that's the key.
That's the key. Can he be a younger version? And Daryl Baker Jr. is not old by any means, but he's an undrafted free agent. Can he be a guy that you develop into Daryl Baker Jr.
I
for
think
later
so.
on down the road?
I think so.
See, that's the game I kind of view, and maybe I view it differently than
Maybe
other
they
NFL
think it
teams.
should just be a practice squad guy.
Maybe. I mean, there's going to be a lot of opportunity here for the Titans to get incrementally better. We'll talk more about that, more about roster cuts. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Guys, we spend so much time focusing on external wins like job, fitness, success, but what about your internal performance? Your sexual health is just as important. And at Edge Peptide Therapy, they go beyond Band-Aids and blue pills. Their treatments are designed to fix what's actually causing issues, whether it's low T, poor circulation, or stress. And listen, this isn't just for men with ED. If you're doing fine but need more stamina, more desire, more intensity, Edge can help you level up. Real medicine, real results. So get back to feeling like the alpha version you are and go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com and see what they can do for you, or you can give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. PK is reporting that Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon is initially making the roster for the Tennessee Titans. So that's the undrafted free agent offensive tackle out of Florida.
Yeah.
That was a rookie this year. And I believe that will make him the lone undrafted free agent from this undrafted UDFA class to make the roster. Kind of a little surprising, actually.
I didn't watch a lot of him. I know he started off fast earlier in training camp.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't.
And then he kind of trailed off and he kind of just became another guy out on the field in the games. You didn't really notice him in a bad way or good way. And sometimes that means that's good.
So that's who beat out Duncan.
That's who beat out Duncan for right now. We're still waiting word on everything else, but that seems to be at least he's probably last one in, first one off the list if I had to guess, but I don't know. Listen, this offensive staff tend to love random guys. Like, I mean, you remember how much they love Leroy Watson and Jalen Duncan and NPF and me. Listen, they brought in Jerron Christian
too.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Like, maybe he's a guy that actually. I know that there is a rule where you can have an emergency offensive lineman and not count against your game day 48.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like the emergency quarterback rule.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if maybe that's the case here. But I'm actually a little surprised that at least right now he initially has made the 53. So good for him. Congratulations.
Oh, man, that's huge. Man, he must have that's Bill Callahan, right?
Yeah.
Really impressed, man. And I bet that's really hard to do. And then remember how much he praised Duncan? Mm-hmm. Even early in training camp.
And listen, Duncan looked good at camp. And then he did not look good in the games. And that's the issue with Jalen Duncan is that we hear all this high praise, or at least I saw it, and I was giving him praise at least this year. And then he comes game time, he is not that dude. And that's unfortunate. And because I really liked Jalen Duncan and thought that maybe he was going to be able to be coached into something because he was very raw and he just wasn't. And, maybe he'll end up on the practice squad and he can continue to learn from Bill Callahan. More than likely, he may find opportunity elsewhere. I don't know.
Well, what you love about sports, though, is, Cut Day, there is no favoritism like that, and there's no politics involved like in the corporate world. So that's what I love about sports is the best man wins. So he was the best man.
That's
true.
According
to his coach, yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Good. Congratulations to him.
Josh Wiley was released. That didn't really seem to be a big surprise. Both him and Thomas Sadakoya are getting released. I know that
it's okay, Jackson.
It's okay, Jackson. We mourn your loss today with the Wiley Hive.
We will have an official statement coming at 2:20.
Okay, there you go. Ahead of Coach Mack.
Okay, 2:12.
We're going to have a statement from the Grand Poobah?
It's, you know what? We'll just do it now.
Okay.
The Wiley Hive is saddened by today's news, but we will continue on with the Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon Hive.
There you go.
Oh, my.
Tough scene.
That was another one of yours?
No, it was one of Stoney's, so I'm just going to latch on to his fandom.
Oh.
I know Stoney's very happy by Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon.
You can't even get your own. See, that's what I stripped the title Grand Poobah again. You can't be taking us. You got to be creative.
Well, mine got cut.
Yeah, his guy got cut.
My other one would have been James Prochet.
You got to live with it. You got to live with it. You can't just latch on to somebody else.
Well, I got to pick a guy who's on the roster. And, it would have been Josh Wiley. Then it would have been James Prochet. He's gone.
Titans just came in from Justin Mello just now. The Titans are waiving interior offensive lineman Andrew Rupsich, a source confirmed.
Whoa.
And so that one made sense. We talked about that on the final on Football Under the F Words because they love Blake Hance. Now, I don't know why. You can't convince. I guess just his versatility. It's just one of those things I'm just perplexed about Blake Hance.
Oh.
But they signed him. They brought him in, and he could play all 5 spots if need be.
Versatility.
And they got Jackson Slater. So I was like, okay, I don't think there's a need for Andrew Rupsich because you're also keeping Corey Levin to back up Lloyd Cushenberry. Corey Levin, by the way, that is, I believe, technically if you're going by draft years, he's the longest tenured Tennessee Titan. Because he was drafted by John Robinson. People forget that.
Yeah.
But he got cut and everything.
Right. The entire team?
He's the oldest pack line. On the entire team. Because people forget when they're discussing John.
What year was this?
2017, I believe.
The staff that's there probably.
2017, sixth round.
The staff that's there probably don't even know he's attached to him because he's bounced around.
Right.
Hey, but man, that dude has 9 lives, man. That dude's a good player.
He's played on the Broncos. And so if you're talking about longest tenured as far as being here and playing, no.
Right.
But as far as draft picks go,
the oldest John Robinson draft pick. And
let me say something.
Hey, John Robinson's over high-fiving right now talking about, I told you he's a good player.
A 6th round draft pick in 2017. Levin is a dependable backup in this league.
No question.
That is a good draft pick by John Robinson that we don't talk about enough.
And that's who the Grand Poobah should have latched on to.
That's who you need to latch on to.
Corey Levenhive? Okay, I'm down for it. The Corey Levenhive.
Levenhive.
He wanted a young, fresh guy.
We didn't get to talk about this after the game on Friday, but we were talking about James Lynch. Me and Stoney were watching the game.
I told you he was pretty good.
He's good.
That dude's a good player.
And I go, I wonder how old he is because he's got to be like in the league for forever. He's got to be like 31. He is 26.
What? I was about to say 28.
Wouldn't you have thought he's so much older?
I kept on saying, man, this guy's good. He's everywhere.
Yeah, 26. He'll turn 27 in about 100 days. He was drafted in 2020 by the Minnesota Vikings, who he just played against, in the 4th round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, they were talking about it.
And I was thinking, doesn't he seem like a player when you're talking about just seems so much older than what you really think?
Wow.
I would have not thought that he was 26.
I do. What do you think, Jackson? You feel like he's older? I do.
I felt like he was a lot older.
I guaranteed he was 28.
Yeah, I mean, at least.
Yeah.
And he just seemed like that kind of player. And, hey, listen,
it's the way
he's played
he plays mature,
really
like
well.
He knows what he's doing. He's strong. Yeah. He caused a couple penalties, man. I was thoroughly impressed. Because they picked him up last year, too, right?
Right. They picked him up last year.
Yeah. I was like, man, this guy's, how did he get out there? Yeah, that was a good pull there, man, for a depth piece.
Yeah.
He's better. My guy, Coburn, he's better than him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Coburn's out there. He got released there by the
Raiders.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very surprised. I was like, I need to know more about James Lynch because he's played really well these last 2 years. Now, last year he played serviceable, in the regular season. But he's obviously earned the trust of this team, right? I mean, he's he's solid. Your 4th defensive lineman, you could do way worse. I think he's been pretty good. And I'm like, dang, he's only 26.
Where did he go?
He was Baylor. 4th round out of Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor. Yeah, he reminds me of a guy I played with. You guys would know him, Jason Fisk. Just Mr. Consistency, immovable, tough, smart. Man, those guys. Man, the guy. I think he's gonna play, man, a good 4 years. He may always be kind of a role player, but he'll have his way because as soon as you turn on the tape, the guy stands out. It's almost like watching Cody Barton play linebacker. That's who he is at D-line. Dude's smart.
Yeah.
He's smart, man. He understands the whole control gaps and then how to get out of that gap to make a play, man, and the timing of it. Yeah, solid player. I love players like that. Him, Cody Barton, guys who are just Mr. Consistency. And guess what? Nothing about their game is going to make you go, oh, man, he's that guy.
Yeah.
No, when you turn on the tape, you watch him play after play after play. I like consistency because guess what? Now I trust you.
And he's consistent against players against players in preseason where other players you have seen are not consistent.
Yeah.
And I have to say that even last year, I felt that he was consistent. I mean, he's a role player, but at 26,
that's.
At 26 to have a role player that maybe can develop into a Sebastian Joseph Day that's right across the way over there, who he himself is of higher pedigree.
Yeah, and then he's bigger than you thought. I looked him up. When he's like 6'3", I was
6'4", 295 pounds.
The way he's built, he don't look like he's a 6'4" guy. I'm like, man, I thought this dude was like 6'1".
He's only 16 pounds less than Sebastian Joseph Day.
Hey, man, because Jackson, how tall are you? 6'4", 6'5"?
I am 6'1".
Because you got to remember, Sebastian Joseph Day was a 6th round draft pick in 2018. We're talking about a 4th round draft pick who could fill a role. And that's what you're looking for.
Solid
I mean, I know
player.
they didn't draft him, but hey, retain him, right? I mean, that's what they did. And I think that he's carved out a nice role. I think he could be a extension candidate. No, when I say extension candidate, you guys don't go crazy. I'm not talking about like a $40 million man or anything.
No.
But like a 2-year, $12 million deal or something
Just
like that.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know. Like, I know that this sounds crazy. Like, what other radio shows probably has spent like 10 minutes talking about James Lynch?
Hey, man, they do. I like players like him. I love him, man. You know what? I'm going to say this, and I know you're probably going to disagree, is that this is what you wanted in a different position out of Restrepo.
Yeah.
Like to turn into this solid player that can find a little niche on the team as a backup and rotational guy, and he just never hit that. He just wasn't quite there. And that's what I was looking for out of him. And
there was
I knew
just
he could
no
get it.
consistency.
Yeah,
the days he would pop and you're like, there it is. That's the Xavier
Yeah.
Restrepo. And then you'd go
He
2 or 3
disappeared.
days without seeing
Ghost.
anything.
Yeah, it's just, man, he's not quite fast enough, not quite big enough. I mean, it's just long enough. It was going to be a tough
Hey,
year.
here's a name by the distinguished gentleman in the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. That kind of reminds me a little bit of James Lynch in a sense, Carl Klug. A guy that just kind of just did it.
I love me, Klug.
Yeah.
Oh,
a guy
I
that
love
just got
Klug.
it, did it, just put his head
He
down
was
and
one
worked.
of my favorite players. I love Carl Klug.
Yep.
What about
I just love
Dave
saying his
Ball?
name.
Oh, Dave Ball's a good one. A little different position, but
yeah,
Dave Ball's a good
defensive
one.
end. Yeah, Dave Ball was-
But that's a good one. That's a good one
Hey,
right
man,
there.
Dave Ball was a real good athlete, too. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty good.
But yeah, like to me, it's like, okay, James Lynch, that's a good free agent pickup from last year that you kept around. And I think he's rewarding with really good play. And that's what exactly like you said, a guy that couldn't find his spot on another team with the Minnesota Vikings. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get you 5 sacks. You're probably going to get 1 sack, 2 sacks out of him. But you know that he's going to be in the right spot at the right time. He's not going to miss a tackle. He's just going to be there, and he's going to give you his all every play. Because you see it in the preseason. I mean, he's playing way into the fourth quarter, it feels like. All game, just going
He act like
after
he ain't
it.
get tired, man. I don't know what he
Yeah.
on, but, man, Jackson need to get on that.
He
No,
just
just
goes.
kidding. Hey, someone in the chat brought I know different position.
Yeah.
What about Gabe Davis, the wide receiver?
He just hasn't been able to catch on anywhere.
No,
That's
it makes
very
me nervous.
surprising.
Yeah, like,
And then who do you put him over? You know, like, would you
getting here,
rather?
then he's not even better than Bryce. I mean, Oliver. I mean,
To be honest with you, I mean,
don't
are you
know.
cutting Van Jefferson for Gabe Davis, who got cut last year and never really latched on anywhere?
and nobody signed him.
And nobody signed him. And there's a lot. The Vikings are willing to trade draft capital for Adam Thielen, but not willing to sign
Well,
Gabe
he
Davis.
was there before.
Yeah. But I
Now-
mean, we're talking
now
about
also Addison is suspended the first 3 games. Let's just get it.
But what I'm saying is that they're not kicking around Gabe Davis.
No.
So like Adam Thielen is just turned 35 years old 4 days ago. They would rather send draft capital for him than sign someone who I believe is just 25, 26.
I like Adam
That
Thielen.
tells you everybody else's actions around a player
Tells you.
or their inactions surrounding a player tells you a lot about a player, in my opinion. So I'm reading the tea leaves and I'm like, if Gabe Davis wants to come on the practice squad and earn his way, he probably doesn't want to do that.
Right.
But if he wants to, I'm in if I'm an
If he
NFL
wants to
team.
be in the league and takes minimum salary with some incentives.
Well, hell, Amari Cooper just got signed.
I know who. Where
The
did he go?
Raiders just signed
The
him.
Raiders, right? Because because they have some receivers there that want to get traded. What's it?
Jacoby Myers wants to
Yeah.
get traded over there.
I didn't know if he wanted to go. Wasn't he with the Patriots?
Yeah, he
Patriots.
Patriots before he went over there. And he got 1,000 yards last year for them. He wants
He
money.
did?
He wants money.
Oh man, I don't see him 1,000-yard receiver at all.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers got 1,027 yards and 4 touchdowns last year.
4 touchdowns.
And this is coming off 3 seasons where he got 800 yards in the last 3 seasons preceding that. He's been a pretty steady wide receiver,
right, that's
too.
what I said. 1,000 though. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a benchmark. Like, just think about this: Jacoby Myers, and compare him to Calvin Ridley, both barely over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Are they close in talent?
Nope.
And as players,
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know,
He,
man.
he had a much better catch rate than Calvin Ridley.
He is not Calvin Ridley.
But he's not Calvin Ridley.
And
129
that's why he
targets
wants the
last
money,
year.
because he said,
Yeah.
look, I put up 800 and then with different quarterbacks, and then now I put up 1,000 in one season.
Okay, since coming over to the Las Vegas Raiders in 2023, he had a 106 target season and a 129 target season. So they're using him. They trust him. Like, your quarterbacks trust him, and he's wanting. And I don't know what he's wanting to get paid. I can't remember off the top of my head what he's trying to get paid. But I feel like, I don't know, he kind of worked his way into getting paid.
Well, okay, what do you think he should get paid? Like, what per year?
Let me see what he's getting paid now.
15, 10.
Per year, let's see. He signed a 3-year, $33 million contract with the Raiders, and he's in the last bit of that, so that's $11 million per year. Okay, I would probably bump that up to maybe a 3-year extension if I'm the Raiders, maybe. But you also got Deontay
15?
Thornton maybe over there that
20?
could turn into something.
You gonna give him $20 million?
Ooh, that's tough. I'd probably go 15 mil. It's not a big raise, but it's a raise
What's
nonetheless.
Calvin really making per year? Do we know?
He's just over the
like 22 or something.
He's a 4-year 92. So that's a 4-year 92's average annual salary of 23.
See, 22. So
See, I would go like 15, 16.
He's gonna think he thinks he gets to get exactly like 23. He thinks he's there now.
Yeah, that's. But then you got Deontay Thornton back there, so like this kind of leads us into another discussion I want to head on. That's kind of maybe I instigated this conversation on the station by retweeting someone else. But let's talk about this University of Tennessee offense in the NFL. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We have a little bit of NFL breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
The New Orleans Saints plan to go with Spencer Rattler as their starting quarterback, Coach Kellen Moore said, after winning a competition with rookie Tyler Shuck and Jake Hayner, who just recently got released. In the preseason, Rattler will get the ball week 1 versus Arizona.
Man, I am excited about that. Here's why. Because I think, what's the guy's name?
Shuck.
Is going to eventually be the starting quarterback. And he doesn't have all the pressure being the start at the beginning of the season. They don't have a very good team. So probably
one of the few rosters worse than Tennessee Titans.
Oh, man, they got about it. So, they're praying that Arch Manning comes out. Regardless of how he plays, they still going to take him. It doesn't even matter. So he's from that area, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, So that was probably good for him. Probably not good for the Saints.
Yeah.
For Rattler.
Frederick Ross in the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live says cornerback Kobe Bryant was cut because he couldn't stay healthy during training camp.
Oh, so
there you go.
Was it. He probably wasn't even out there.
Yeah.
So that's bad luck there. Golly.
I had not double checked that, but that's I trust someone named Frederick Ross.
Anyway, getting released by the Saints quarterback.
Well, I didn't really like it. He won Senior Bowl MVP the first year I went down to the Senior Bowl.
If you find out that really means not too
exactly
much.
Because he did not deserve Senior Bowl MVP that year based on his performance.
I know some people who've won Senior Bowl MVP and is not in their Hall of Fame.
And if I'm not mistaken, oh man, okay, I may be mixing up my years. I thought there was a year that Spencer Rattler shouldn't have won it and he didn't win it. I can't remember what year that was. That may have been the Jake Hayner year. I thought he should have won it over Jake Hayner, but Jake Hayner got it, and it was not a well-deserved. So I'm not a big fan of Jake Hayner. He needs to go to Mel Modeling, because I don't know if you remember when he got signed by the Saints, to do the rookie pictures. He did all these weird modeling poses.
Oh,
yeah, he was a little bit more, I'm sure it was a bit, but not focused on the right things.
For the bit? He got penalized for the bit?
Maybe maybe he's more focused on the bits than he is about the ball.
Maybe it was something else. You're trying to get me in trouble there, man.
There you go. Okay, so yesterday at 4:27 p.m., a tweet had caught my eye. And you know me, I'm a little bit of an instigator. Just a little bit. I don't do it very often.
Just a tad. Just a tad. Just a fingernail.
And a little bit of an instigator. And it was from Quincy Avery, who is a quarterback guru, who has a Hulu show and everything as well. He says, he's quote tweeting a tweet from Ted Gwynn, who, for those that may not know who Ted Gwynn is, he is on Twitter at FB_film analysis.
Tony Gwynn's cousin?
No, not Tony Gwynn's cousin. It's spelled Nguyn. Is that Wynn or Gwynn? I'm not sure. I've never heard him say his name, so I'm not sure. I just only read his tweets and read his articles. But he writes for The Athletic. Big film guy for the Raiders, as far as he breaks down a lot of Raiders film, but he does it for a lot of The Athletic, but specifically he's Raiders driven. And Ted, he says, because Hidden Hooker got released yesterday from the Lions, Ted says that Tennessee offense puts skilled players in a developmental hole. And Quincy Avery quote tweets that and says, when I said that, everyone was mad, but can't imagine sending a kid with a shot at the NFL to University of Tennessee. Now, Quincy may have overstepped a little bit, but I retweeted that without comment because I knew it'd stir up some stuff. Tennessee fan base. And it got stirred up.
Jackson liked it.
Jackson liked it. He said that was the best tweet he's ever seen, is what he texted me.
Jackson, did you like that?
I don't think it's necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
But I think I do agree. I think it's a little overstated by I would never send a kid with a chance at the NFL to UT.
Right. And now he did clarify that. He did clarify that. He goes, I meant as a quarterback. I apologize if someone took it as a general statement, which he should, about the whole program. Also, they should know that's not what I meant, but that no one would know that. And of course, he's a quarterback guru. That's a lot of assumption in Twitter. Too much assuming on Twitter that people are going to understand what you're saying. But I do agree that the Tennessee offense does put skilled players in developmental hole. I don't necessarily agree that if you want a shot at the NFL that you can't send your kids to the UT, because some of this development is also on the players once they know they're getting drafted. Like, you got to start working at your craft a little bit more. Dante Thornton said it best recently, Blaine. Dante Thornton, sorry. Dante Thornton said, I love it, talking about Chip Kelly's offense. I played against Kelly and the Buckeyes in my last college game in the first round of the playoffs, and they beat us bad. So being able to play in this offense, I see why they did that. He goes on to say, being in a more open offense, having more route concepts and different things like that, with me coming from my past offense, we didn't do too much of that. It was just an adjustment for me to make. Once I got the hang of it, it's been a lot easier for me. Once he got the hang of it, I think obviously coaches are involved, but he kind of had to work on it, right? Mm-hmm. You can't just come in and not work on your craft, especially in the NFL. But I do think that this Tennessee offense makes it real simple for quarterbacks and wide receivers to a point where there's a steep learning curve for those players entering in the NFL.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I would say it's even more. It's steeper for the quarterback. Mm-hmm. I'm with you on the receivers. With that, they can eventually get to doing all the route combinations when you get through the trainers and you're getting ready for the combine and all this stuff for the NFL. So I don't feel like it's as impactful. Now, you got to go out there and have timing. You got to get used to it. But at the same time, I think it's easier. I think it's much harder for the quarterback because it's like going through progression reads, your timing, you're throwing to spots which are totally different than what's in that offense. So, hey, Heupel gets paid to win games. He's not getting paid to develop, guys for the NFL. Now, that's a caveat to it all. Now, they can hurt in recruiting, but as far as I'm concerned, hey, man, I'm going to keep doing what's working until you stop it. Now, you got to evolve and continue to grow as coach. I think that's what made Nick Saban such a great college coach, is that he kept growing and elevating and changing. Remember, he was all about run to the left, run to the right when he first got to Alabama. And then now he started throwing around the yard. He evolved. He understood what was happening in the game. So at some point, Heupel's going to have to make some adjustment too. But that time is not now for winning games. Right. But that's probably true more so with the quarterback. I know it is with the receivers, but to me, they should have the easier adjustment. They should to the pro game.
Running backs would be another one that would probably even have an even more easy adjustment than all those. Yeah. So like Dylan Sampson should go, and that's where I kind of draw the line. Is like, okay, I get it. This Tennessee offense, and there's many offenses just like Tennessee's, and they'll have a player or two that hit. But we've seen it, was it Art Briles, right? Kendall Wright, you brought it up. Yeah. Sometimes players just can't put it all together. Is that an indictment of the college program, or is that an indictment of the player? Because to me, or the new coaching staff and the pros, let's add them to the blame pie too. Because to me, like you have said many times and already, this offense is about winning games in college.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all that matters.
That's his job, because that's what he's getting judged on, Jackson. So how do you feel? I'm surprised that it hasn't hurt him a little bit in recruiting, because they can use that against him and say, hey, you go there, you're not going to do well in the pros, because there's a line of guys there. But I'm sure there's also a caveat to respond to that, too.
Yeah, I think the caveat you can use to respond to that is, look at where these guys were before they came to Tennessee, like a Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker was not going to be drafted
at all.
He wasn't going to be the starter at Virginia Tech, and he ended up going in the third round after 2 seasons at Tennessee. And so you can use that as there's a counter argument to this argument. Which side is truly right? I want to lean more towards this offense doesn't develop QBs in the best way, but that's not Josh Heupel's job. He has won more games at Tennessee than, most of the past decade of head coaches have. So he's doing his job, and until it stops working in the college game, why would he ever change?
Yep.
I mean, and look at it this way. I mean, so far, Jalen Hyatt has earned more than probably $2 million so far with the New York Giants. That may have been $2 million he doesn't have if he goes to another school. Now, It could be more if he went to another school. Like if you went to LSU or Ohio State, wide receiver use, could be more. But he got drafted because he went to Tennessee. He got drafted because he was a focal point of the offense. And maybe he wouldn't have been like, okay, Jalen Hyatt goes to Ohio State.
Right.
He ain't outshining Chris Olave. I don't even know if these are the right times, so I apologize. But he ain't outshining Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave, those guys that are ahead of him on the depth chart. More than likely.
I would say that on the Jackson side of it, it enhances what their abilities are when you get to his offense.
Yeah, for the receivers, Jalen Hyatt is more of he's a slot receiver. He's got great college speed, but good NFL speed, and he hasn't been able to adapt and put it together where in college, against Alabama, he was running by every DB,
and those are
torching them down the field.
Those are DBs that are NFL pro ready, right? There ain't no slouches
put him
in
in
Alabama.
the slot, and the game is built on how they hyper boost his offense. That slot gets that one-on-one matchup, and it's kind of hard to cover those guys in space with no one in front of them getting free release.
Yeah.
That's why I kept on saying that will never happen in the National Football
And that's where
League.
he struggled.
Right.
And
free release.
And against Alabama specifically, he was going against their worst defensive back, their strong safety. I don't remember him at the time.
Right. Safety versus a wide receiver.
Safety versus a wide receiver. And the safety couldn't keep up. And so Jalen Hyatt scored 5 touchdowns and he raised his national profile, but he doesn't have, when you're going up against the best of the best in the NFL and you're not getting that free release, it's just not going to be blowing by everybody like he was doing in college.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, when you talking about Tillman, then what was the guy that the 5-star guy from California that transferred in?
Brew McCoy, his was more injury stuff.
Yeah, well, he had injury, but still he had a shot at the league.
Mm-hmm. And he had to medically retire.
Recruiting, they're going to say, hey, man, well, you go there if you want to play college, but, hey, we get guys to the NFL.
And where's the depth chart? Where are you on the depth chart? Here, I'm going to make you into a star that you may not be able to have that opportunity elsewhere. So it's a very give and take kind of relationship, but his job is to get players ready to win games in college. That's ultimately his job.
How many players do you think, on a percentage basis, Jackson, between Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee that are recruiting the same players, just those players, whatever number that is per year, what percentage of those players are they getting? Because they're getting that second-tier elite player, and then in this offense, they will be really good compared to if they were in other teams' offense.
We're gonna have to answer that when we come back because we're way over our break. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
One of the marks of a good parent, they warn their kids about danger and who to trust and what to avoid and how to make smarter choices. Hey, folks, it's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix repairs European vehicles, and Eurofix believes in warning their customers, too. In one case, Eurofix wrote a $5,500 refund check to a customer. And who does that? Eurofix polices themselves. Why? Because not every auto shop tells you the full story. Some oversell, others cut corners. Some just may not know what to do. So you could pay for something that you don't need to pay for. And Eurofix makes quality repairs at below dealer pricing. It has been since 1999. So get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection and a 3-year nationwide warranty on all the work that Eurofix performs. And rental cars are available with every appointment. So stay on the road and off the tow truck because Eurofix will make sure of that. Family owned locally for over a quarter of a century. 5 locations all over the state of Tennessee, and all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by all four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We were talking about the University of Tennessee, their football program, and being able to, whether it's a good idea for you to go there to get drafted. Now, obviously, Quincy Avery kind of semi-backtracked his statements, saying that he was only talking about quarterbacks. But we're talking about why would you go? What's the sales pitch? Well, let's look at Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman real quick. And both were third-round draft picks, right? Cedric Tillman, will start with him. Third-round draft pick, ended up going to Tennessee. His only other schools that he got offers from were Hawaii, his local school of UNLV, and Weber State. That's why you go to Tennessee. Because you can tell, and you turned a guy that was only got 4 offers, according to 247sports.com, only got 4 offers, and one of them being Tennessee, and he got drafted in the 3rd round. That's why you go to Tennessee. I can't believe y'all got me up here hyping up Tennessee.
You elevated him.
Yeah, and Cedric, he looked fine in the Jeremy Pruitt offense, but he against Heupel, with Heupel, he really ascended into a very talented receiver, and even got drafted. I think he could have went higher had his 2022 season not been hampered with an ankle injury that kept him out of some key games.
Yeah. And listen, he's turned into a nice little wide receiver 3 for the Cleveland Browns. He's only played in 9 games so far for the team, or started 9 games, but in those games, he looked pretty good, and he's looked better than Jalen Hyatt has in the games that he's played in.
What was the other receiver that went to the Chargers?
Josh Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer.
He's been a really solid pro.
Yeah, he definitely helped. Yeah. I think he may be starting with the Chargers this year because I think one of those guys retired.
No, he's somewhere else.
He's still with the Chargers.
Is he still with the Chargers?
Look him up. I think I think he's...
No, he's with the Bills.
Oh, he's with the Bills?
He signed with the Bills in the offseason.
He was a free agent?
Yeah. So he was a free agent, signed with the Bills, and he's been turning heads over there. I knew he wasn't at the Chargers, but I couldn't remember where he went. But yeah.
He was... Yeah.
But you look at Jalen Hyatt, look at the names of the people that offered him. Appalachian State, Arkansas, Coastal Carolina, Duke, East Carolina, Indiana, Kentucky, Miami, Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, West Virginia. You're not
good
getting
programs.
Good programs, but you're not getting drafted in the NFL as high as he did.
Not at
if
Michigan.
If you didn't go to Tennessee.
Not at Michigan.
No.
Because they don't throw the ball.
They want you to run block.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they want you to do. You can get your yardage and stuff, but they want you to, at least back then, they wanted you to run block. You're not, again, that's another thing to say. Come to Tennessee, even if you're not getting recruited. We're going to throw the ball. If you're a wide receiver, why would you not want to go?
Is that what Bill Belichick is going to be doing? You got to be able to block.
I don't know. We've kind of forgotten about that.
I'm so curious for next Monday night.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to watch that. They have... I
have no idea. I was just messing with
TCU.
The first thing I think about is Vrabel and Belichick talking about blocking.
TCU, Monday, September 1st at 7 p.m. At home, by the way.
You don't think he's going to do so well?
I think he will.
Oh.
But I'm just curious to what it looks like. What does a Bill Belichick college program on the field look like?
Because the Hard Knocks got canceled. We haven't gotten to see anything.
No.
Hey. Yeah, I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be okay, but he may not have those elite players that like we're talking about. That's what made me think about him. But he's gonna turn those guys into pretty good players, if he can get into their heads and they listen. Yeah. His tactics going to have to change a little bit compared to the pros, but if Nick Saban could do it, I'm sure he can too.
No, I just thought that was someone different. Someone else that got released, but it was...
nobody else?
Nobody worthy at the moment.
Palmer's the only guy, not the Palmer from Tennessee, but Trey Palmer from Tampa Bay is probably the only receiver right now that stands out that's been released.
Yeah.
For you. I kind of like that guy too.
I mean, for someone that may be able to find a way for playing time, yeah. But, I mean, again, I kind of like this wide receiver room. Mm-hmm. I like, Bryce Oliver, because I'm not cutting Bryce Oliver for Trey Palmer. Maybe I'm crazy for that, but I'm not.
Is Palmer also a returner, Trey Palmer?
Yeah. They had 18 punt returners, 2 muffed punts last year, though.
Oof.
Yeah.
Only
2 muffed
two?
punts out of 18. Yeah.
That's like missing 2 extra points
Yeah, probably. Wouldn't you say?
out of 18.
Depends. I don't know if they were recovered by the other team or not. He may just muffed them and picked it right back up. But yeah, we'll keep you updated of any kind of cuts that have been made. I will say this: the Browns have just released kicker Dustin Hopkins from their 53. But I don't know if he's at this stage of his career, if he's any better than Joey Sly at this point. But that is a notable name. That's at least a recognizable name for some people.
The kicker made what did he make? The 60-something yarder?
Yeah.
63.
He was 63, which would have been the longest. And I guess it is the longest field goal made in Titans in that stadium, in Nissan Stadium. At all.
Oh, at all?
At all. Because Baronis's was a 60-yarder.
Oh, it was only 60?
Yeah, it was only 60. So the 63's gone by 3 yards. And I think it was good for a little bit longer.
It definitely has some space. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely did. Oh, yeah. But that was preseason, though, man. That's why I kept saying in preseason.
Yeah,
We gotta
it's just
do that
preseason.
Regular season when the heat was really on, man.
Because he did it at the training camp thing that was held at the stadium, too. He kicked it for like 65.
Oh, man, it was like he could make it from 70.
He had a, man.
When you saw
he
him
had a long
warm up
time.
in Atlanta,
Yeah.
my.
Yeah.
It was like, dang.
He didn't double doink the 63-yarders, the second one, right? The last one he made.
Yeah, that was like a
53, 55, something like that.
That was
the double doink.
Oh, that's when you know you're living right there. Because when he hit the first one, when they showed on the replay, the top, and then it made it angle back down to hit the middle of the crossbar, and it was going to go across after that.
Do you think the kicker goes around and says, yeah, I meant to do that?
No.
He's probably like,
everybody
thank
knows
God.
that's luck.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that's luck, man. There you go. You living right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I don't think he's in trouble now. He's good to go.
I think so.
Yeah, that squashed all that extra point stuff for me.
There you go. That made you forget it all.
Yep, made me forget it all, man. Who do we have? Now you got to show consistency on kicking like 50-yarders. I want to see that. Because usually those long-legged, strong-leg guys to the kick field goals, usually are inconsistent from the 40 to the 50.
Well, to be honest, you've put on tape now that you've been able to kick from 63 yards. Mm-hmm. We know that he did one in training camp for longer than that, which made the rounds, right? It made the media rounds. So if you're another team, when you're deciding what kind of defense to play, or you're the Tennessee Titans deciding what kind of offense to play on those critical area of the field, that could change how you play a defense, and that could provide a big gain for the offense, because they're thinking, well, we really have to blitz, or we have to do this, because it makes the defense think.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And I'm glad you brought this up, because correct me if I'm wrong, I think we had to call timeout to kick that field goal. And here's what I'm getting to. That's game management. Coach already should have the play before. If we don't get this first down, we're going to kick the field goal.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up, because I don't recall.
I may be wrong on that, Jackson, but when I was watching the game and I was talking to other people, but it was not about the game, and I was like, well, dang, man, we had to call timeout. And I'm cool with the timeout, but in a real live game, I want to say, because I saw him go down and talk to Fossil, and this is during the timeout, like, hey, can he make the 64 or 5-yard field goal, whatever it was? And to me, that conversation should have been had the play before. That way you wouldn't have had to call timeout, and your kicker could have been getting ready. That's a game management type deal, and I think they did call timeout. But
they did. They did call a timeout.
That's little bitty stuff right there that's called game management. Now, what if you needed that timeout?
Yep.
Later on in the game. That's why it becomes important. Not at the immediate
that was
moment.
Third quarter.
Mm-hmm, immediate moment in a live game where it's going to count. So, but that's why you have to have preseason, kind of go through some of the little kinks, because he walked down there and talked to him like, hey, man, you should already get the kicker ready, because if we don't get this first down, we're going to be kicking this field goal. So tell the unit to get ready now. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See that? That's game management.
That's game management stuff that Brian Callahan does need to work on, despite what maybe other people say. That stuff matters. When we come back, we'll talk to Coach Mack, get his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, folks, I've been talking about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance for years because they're the leading experts in sports medicine and performance and the team physician for the NFL, college, and high school athletics across Tennessee. And TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They have 29 locations throughout the state and over 100 physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. And TOA has 11 urgent care locations with walk-in availability 7 days a week. They offer direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy and nutrition, personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. And TOA also offers sports performance training, a specialized program designed to enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels. So please check out their services at TOA.com. Yes, for more information, just go to TOA.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. You hear the music. It's Tuesday. It's time for Coach Mack for his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Tourist Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. And, Coach, I guess the big question going on right now, obviously there's a lot of tough conversations being had with players that have been on your roster for the last few months. When you're going through and making these cuts and you're looking at waiver wire and all this stuff to put in claims, what are you looking for? Are you looking for youth, or are you looking for help right now?
Well, it depends on the makeup of your squad. I mean, look, I think within the last 5 to 6 years, the people that have had the number one claiming spot have claimed probably about an average of 3 to 4 players. I think the most has been 5 or 6. What you understand is if you claim somebody, if they're subject to waivers, which means they've got less than 3 years, 3 games service, then they've got to go on your 53-man roster. So you've got to be pretty assured that you're going to be able to get something out of them, and they've got to be there. You can't just bring them on and then cut them after a week. They've got to be there for 3 weeks. So the thing that you have to look at is where you're sitting, what might come available, because it's not just that you have the number one claim. You've got the number one claim of anybody that's waived for the first 3 weeks. For the first 3 weeks you do. So there's going to be different spots during this time of 3 weeks where players are released for different reasons. You know, some vets may be released because they don't want to pay them for the whole season after the first game. So there's a lot of different permutations that go into it. I guess my answer is each situation is completely different every year, depending on your team and depending on who's being released and why they're being released.
And what's the coach's role throughout this process? I mean, obviously, nobody knows the players really better than the coaches, but how large of a voice do they have? How big of a collaboration is it for teams in these situations? And how many times does a coach pound the table for certain players, and sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't?
Coaches don't have time right now to do this.
Okay.
I mean, they've got an army of people that have been watching this all off season. I mean, when you look at the number of people sitting behind computers that are doing all of this stuff, that are studying all these rosters, I mean, now they will bring certain players to coaches and ask, do you have any knowledge of this person? That, what have you if they've been in the league? What do you know? How you vet? But that's what the personnel departments are huge departments now at every club in the National Football League, just for this exact reason. And so the coaches are the final piece of it, but the coaches right now, they don't have time. In fact, what they're doing right now is they've already been working quite, on Denver themselves. You don't present it this early to the players, but the coaches will be brought into the process, but not until people have been identified.
We've now had a full off season. You've been around the facilities. You've been at practices. You've been calling the games. What's been the biggest thing that has stood out with you from Cam Ward's perspective about the player that you have seen kind of come in, get drafted, be the number one overall pick, have all these expectations, and then perform at practice, perform outside of the building, or get inside the building early and then perform at games? What's been your biggest takeaway about Cam Ward?
He's consistent. His attitude, his approach, and it's just consistent. He's not a guy that rides the elevator emotionally up and down. He's just not. I mean, and that's exactly what you need. And to me, the other players feed off of that, because that engenders some confidence. But he's very steady. He's a very steady guy. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I know you guys have too, and all the various platforms that you have. But the thing that sticks out, even for the other people that have done our games and watched our games that I talk to, say it's amazing how much calm maturity he's shown this early with this much on his shoulders early in his career.
We're talking to Coach Mack of Titans Radio, brought to you by Tours Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Well, Coach, take us back to, let's say, your toughest cut throughout your tenure, whether it was a defensive coordinator or head coach, and what was that process like? And how are interviews changed when you have to go through that process, or have you talked to coaches about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, and when I was a head coach, everybody that we released, I talked to, every single player. But that came from, I learned under Mike Ditka, I learned under Jeff Fisher. I mean, you've built a relationship with these guys, and they've given you everything they have. I talk to every player. I don't think every head coach does that. I did that because that's the way that I was taught coming up in this league. And so I think that, first of all, is extremely, extremely important. And yes, some are tougher than others. I mean, some are, especially someone that has been with you for quite a while. But then the toughest ones are the ones that those decisions are made not only because of age or a younger player coming up behind them, but also because of money. Because of what they're making. So all those situations are different. But I try to treat everybody with the utmost respect to begin with. And during this time in the building, especially these 2 days, if you try to be respectful of the people that are going to be essentially leaving and losing their jobs, temporarily, you've got to be respectful of that. You don't just go on about business as usual, because it means a lot to these players. You've been in the locker room for a long time. And even if you know someone is probably not going to make the team, you develop a relationship with those guys. I've had a lot of tough conversations, and but it's something that is going to happen. And I think it's very important. It was for me as a position coach. Of course, talk to my guys. As a coordinator, talk to all of them. But then as a head coach, and then the dozen years I was Jeff Fisher's assistant head coach, I talked to every player that we released, and spent as much time as they wanted to. Some don't want to spend very much time with you. Others have got a lot to say, but you owe them that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, this player may be the same player. The toughest cut you made, or the cut you regret the most?
Well, I think one of the toughest cuts I've been around was when we had to let James Laurinaitis go at the Rams. Because he'd been nothing but exemplary for what we were doing and trying to build there. But you reach a point as far as to money, and then we had drafted a young linebacker, Alec Ogletree out of Georgia, that was was going to take that spot. So I mean, it's hard. It's really hard, and it's just. But at the end of the day, your job is to, as a coach and as an evaluator, is to do what you think is best, not only in the present, but moving forward in the future of the team. So that was hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, there were a couple of cuts today. We're on with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack. And, Coach, I guess kind of give us any surprise cuts by the Titans, like, guys that's worthy, it's going to be in the league, just didn't fit with this team at this moment in time.
Well, I haven't been surprised by any of them yet. I really haven't. And some of these guys that have been released, especially guys that have been here for a couple of years, they've had ample opportunity, to earn a spot, and sooner or later, you're not going to release somebody just because. Mm-hmm. I mean, because regardless of circumstances, you're trying to get the people that you think can help you. But especially if you've been around for a while and still are not quite doing it, then that's the nature of this league. So it hasn't surprised me any so far, the people that they've released.
Well, Coach, this may be a week ahead of time, but this is how you coaches think. You're always pre-planning the schedule. They play Denver. Everybody knows, right? Do you leave Friday after practice, or do you leave at the normal time on Saturday to deal with the altitude, or you just kind of play it by ear? What are you thinking?
Leave the normal time.
Leave the normal time. And what makes you? I know we played out there. I mean, I think we did that because you don't want people to think about the actual time.
No, and look, I've coached a lot of games out there, and every team I've ever been with, regardless of whether it was a night game, whether it was a day game, whether it was a Monday a Monday game. I mean, I've coached different teams that have gone out. The altitude has never been a problem.
Oh, there you have it. Coach Mack says the altitude is no problem. He said he was running around out there, too. No, just kidding. Coach Mack.
Coach, you talked about how the coaching staff is game planning, but they're not ready to really unleash it on when practices this week. So what are kind of the focus for this week before you focus on Denver for the players and for the staff when practices start up?
Well, the focus is reorganizing the team, because you go from 91 players. I mean, when you get back on the practice field with half of everybody gone, you look like, you wonder where the hell is everybody, because it does. It looks empty. I mean, so you start to form that group. I mean, that's a completely different group now, even though they've been together in a different environment. So you do that, but then you go back. This gives you a chance to work on fundamentals. This really gives you a chance to work on fundamentals. You may present a couple of things. You don't want to bog your players' minds down too early on a game plan. You just don't, because you want them hyper focused once they get in on a game plan. Now, some players are different. Some players can absorb a whole bunch of that stuff early, but they'll do that a lot on their own. But what you want to do is be sure that everybody is first of all, the health of your football team. Are we as physically healthy as we can be, getting prepared for the opener, which I think they've done a really good job this offseason in this training camp in that area. But you're just working on fundamentals, because those are the one things that will always help you sustain you throughout the season. But you don't go into depth. Now, the coaches are in a different mindset. They're in a different world. They've been looking at things, even in the off season. But players have other things to concentrate on right now, and you want them to be hyper focused once you start presenting a game plan to them, which they'll begin next week.
What do you think of Van Jefferson's touchdown? Because I thought that call by you and Taylor was really good. But what was going on through your head when you saw Van Jefferson, make a little bit of a move? The guy falls down. I think he fell down twice and then just turned the Jets on and scored that touchdown.
I thought he was running pretty fast. I didn't know he was that fast.
I didn't either.
He was eating up stripes, and he made a nice little quick, one step cut in a short area, and left that defender naked in the middle of the fairway. I mean, it was over for him. And so, but I was impressed with his long speed. I did not know he was that fast for that long a time.
With the preseason now coming to a close, what are some things that you can actually take away from the preseason and apply it to the regular season? Because I know, different players are going to be playing, or different level of players are going to be playing. Different speed is going to be played, and it's going to be a lot of variety. So what is it that this team and these fans can kind of take away from these games and maybe say, okay, this will carry over into the regular season?
Well, I think he put them through a really tough training camp, and so they met a lot of adversity. I mean, he had the pads on him as much as he could have the pads on him, and then that 10-day stretch that we went on, was very beneficial for this football team, because you had to be really focused in on that, because I was with them the whole 10 days, and you had to be hyper focused on what was going on, and then. You can talk to Blaine there, just the stress and the strain of practicing against somebody else, and then loading up buses, loading up airplanes, doing all of that stuff. And they intentionally did that because they put these players through something that, you're trying to test a young football team and make it as hard as you can on them early on, because the game that they're getting ready for is completely different than the mindset in a preseason game. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just completely different. But I think the one thing that you can take off of there is how well they competed from the roster up and down, and then their focus on what was going on.
We've talked a lot about the pass blocking from the offensive line and throughout the whole preseason. But what did you think of their run blocking? Did you think that they were creating bigger holes than they have in the past? And what have you seen from them from a run blocking perspective?
Well, this is going to be, it's a different world. They're playing a premier defense this week coming up, and they were playing against some good players. when you talk about the first unit, and the first unit was never in there together. Because basically, Zeitler, we know what he can do. I think that this offensive line group from tackle to tackle plus the tight ends, they were running some doing a pretty nice job of some of that inside outside zone stuff. The backs were on good paths. I like that. They're running a lot of pin and pull stuff, but the quality of defense for 4 quarters, this is a huge test coming up in Denver, because that group at Denver, I mean, I've been watching that tape from last season. They've laid it down on tape that they're legit.
That's for sure. All right, Coach Mack, we got regular. You got one more play?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. We were discussing roster manipulation, coach, and it really was tied into like a Mason Kinsey or like even Prochet, a veteran guy, and how you try to get him on the roster maybe after the first week. Kind of the rules have kind of changed now, so kind of take us through how you can actually do that and what GMs and coaches are thinking with that way of roster manipulation and where you can get some players.
Well, the first thing is I mean, with those kind of guys like that, I mean, those guys now are eligible for practice squads as to where back in the day they weren't.
Right.
That's number one. That's the first thing. The other thing is if a vested veteran, depending on what their circumstances is, and depending on where you are salary cap wise, if they're on the roster the first week of the season, then you owe them for the whole year. If you're in a situation as to where you can afford, and you can tell them that there's a chance we're going to bring you back, but after the first ball game, as to then where you're not on the hook. I mean, because money plays into this, quite a bit. Then you can re-sign them, and then you're paying them week to week. So different people are in different circumstances. But the one thing about those two guys is, in this world, especially after COVID, they are eligible for the practice squad, as to where it used to be. It was 2 years of service or less were the only people that were eligible for the practice squad.
There you have it, Coach Mack. We brought to you by Tours Ford, Southmost Shores Ford dealer. And, of course, you can hear him on Titans Radio as well. Coach Mack, we really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. See ya.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, when we come back, we got some confirmation that the Tennessee Titans have indeed kept a player. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Who dat? Let's talk insurance. King and Associates Insurance. They're independent agents, and that's a big difference. But it goes beyond just having multiple companies to shop, weeding out the non-competitive companies, keeping great relationships with the biggest and the best, along with bundling, of course. But unfortunately, life happens, and they get it. So here's a true story about my friend and coworker that switched from a previous independent agent and got better coverage on his home and its contents, as well as the automobiles, and had flawless communication, a true champion in his corner after his 16-year-old daughter had an accident, and they saved him thousands. And thousands from an independent agent who was overcharging him for years. So you can make the switch and save the same, if not more. But don't make the switch because he did or I did. Switch because you should. And as a business, family, or individual, make the switch to King and Associates Insurance. And I'm sure you can make good use of that extra moolah. Then all you have to do is just give them a call. It's 615, of course, 321-8121. That's 321-8121 or tkinginsurance.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 as the last call for phone calls if you want to get your questions in to me and Blaine. Tennessee Titans, it appears that, I guess now, second-year edge rusher Jalen Harrell is making the team.
Oh.
And the initial 53. Now, we say initial. We don't say final. We say initial because there are a few players that are just kind of placeholders sometimes just in case certain players don't get cut or claimed or whatever. But I am actually a little surprised that Jalen Harrell made it over Allier. But Jalen Harrell, they spent a draft pick on. Maybe the draft pick edge was the little tiebreaker there.
I don't know because it wasn't with this decision maker in Berganzi.
That's true.
So I'm not sure. One thing I can say about Harold though, he got a sack, but he plays with more sense of urgency.
He does
for me than Ali Gay. That's the only thing I
will
can
agree.
See. And you see it.
Yeah.
So that's probably it. Like you got to have some passion and some want to from guys, even when you're exhausted out there, and because most of those guys were playing special teams and offense or defense. So
and he has played a lot of special teams for the Tennessee Titans. So
they've learned their lesson, and special teams is valuable. I'm sure he had,
especially after last year keeping 5 tight ends.
Right. See,
we saw how that changed, right?
Oh my gosh.
Got 5 tight ends last year. There are 3 this year.
I don't remember any special team demon tight ends, man. I just
the old special team demons.
Yeah, they don't usually play tight end, man.
Yeah.
So man. So we shall see. How long do we have until where those last 3 or 4 guys, and it would always be so painful in the meeting rooms.
12
this
more
our roster.
minutes.
Then the next day it'd be like 3 new guys.
So 12 more minutes until the final 53 is probably officially announced by the Tennessee Titans. So right off when we get off the air, they like NFL. I think has known that we go off the air at 3 p.m. And that's when they set all their deadlines. So all the big news. So right when we go off the air, we should have the full list of people that were cut or released or parted ways with, I guess is the best word. And then tomorrow by 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So by the time that we're on the show, maybe we'll have new players to talk about because tomorrow by 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, they are going to be having all the waiver claims will have been processed. So either the players that get claimed, they'll be on the team, or they'll sign them later on down throughout the day, have some tryouts and stuff. So that's when it becomes official.
I already have my guy that I want him to claim.
Who's that?
Then he's injured, Brian, the cornerback.
Oh, yeah, Kobe
Who was
Bryant.
your number 1 guy that you want him to claim?
Trey. Well, I don't know if he's my number 1 guy.
At least
but
right
I
now.
will say this.
Right now.
Brennan Jackson, an edge rusher that got cut from the Los Angeles Rams. That's a guy. He's was from Washington State last year's draft class, Washington State. He's just a steady Eddie. He's not a super strong guy. He's not a super fast guy, but he is a guy that has actually quote unquote pass rush toolkit. So that's a guy that I would probably for this kind of situation. And maybe Tommy will kick us off here. We haven't even talked about Tajay Spears going on IR, really. But let's go to the phones. Let's go to Tommy. Tommy, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Thanks, guys. This is probably not a good time to ask about this, but the most explosive guy on our team is Tajay Spears. And when I first saw him, I said, gosh, he's got to be returning punts and kickoffs. And I'm assuming he doesn't do that because of his propensity to get hurt. But we won 4 games last year. We can't have that mentality. I just want to know if he's ever returned punts or kickoffs, and if not, why not? Thank you.
Thanks. I believe he's done both. I know he's done kicks in the regular season.
He can do both.
I don't know if he's done punts in the regular season, but I know he can do it.
Yeah, he can definitely do it. I don't know if he's done it, though.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I know he was out there doing punts and stuff at the training camp. I mean, returning punts, I guess I should say, not doing punts. He ain't kicking, but during training camp. But
that's off the table because he's injured, so they can't even weigh that as an
4 weeks,
option.
4 games.
Yeah.
Because if it's a bye week, that doesn't count. So you got to remember, everybody says 4 weeks, but it's really 4 games. And he can be brought back after that. And there's typically a 21-day practice window once you activate him before anything else happens. So we have to see where he's at. He's been walking he's got a boot on his leg, is what I think Ian Rappaport's the one who broke the news today. So we'll see. But it's tough. It's a tough one.
You expect them to make a move at running back somewhere?
I would think you would have to. And it would probably be a younger guy. It probably won't be a guy that's reached that vested veteran status unless they're willing to cut Joey Chestnut, by then. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of the whole week one roster guarantee. Right. So I don't know. Let's go to Ryan.
Joey Chestnut.
Ryan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Good. Hey, Blaine, chirp, Ball State grad here, but wanted to call us. The guy sparked my curiosity with Tajay Spears. They need their Darren Sproles. That's what they need. I think about how many downs Darren Sproles probably played in his career. He probably has to be top of the NFL because he was on every special teams in there on third down. So that's what they need. So where's that guy?
I don't know. He did say, I know you couldn't hear him, but he did say, chirp, he was a Ball State grad.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. You give it a little chirp.
Yeah. What was his topic?
But he's like, we need a Darren Sproles type guy, a pass catcher, pass blocker, a little bit of explosiveness. And I do think Tajay Spears is that guy. It's just been health. I don't really know who is that really that is probably going to get cut. I'm not sure if Elijah Mitchell or Jeff Wilson have gotten cut yet, but those are two guys that have proven in this league they can at least catch the ball out of the backfield and get you some yards. But I don't know if you're going to find that guy in particular.
What about that guy that got cut from Denver? I hadn't heard of him. I'm sure you did.
Audric Estime.
The Notre Dame guy.
He's not good.
He's not good?
He's not. He averaged like 3.64 yards per carry in the preseason, and he's playing late into the quarter, and it was like 2 point. He's very much if you were looking for a goal line back.
Oh, he's that?
He's that. I think you have more upside with Khalil Mullins right now.
Well,
I don't think there's
big. He was only like 6 feet, right?
Yeah, like Khalil Mullins is kind of like a thicker
I'd never heard of him.
and stuff. I mean, Audric Estime is a known name, and I've seen a lot of fans bring him up. I just am like, if you need it, then you can have it. But he got drafted.
Well, 5th round or something?
Yeah, 5th or 6th, something like that. Oh. He just wasn't a very fast, explosive guy. He's more of he's more of a goal line back. I mean, you can get that out of any of these three backs, really, at this point.
I still like your idea of Miles Sanders.
Yeah, if he gets cut, we'll see.
A guy like that, who's kind of in that in-between, not an elite back, but a guy, if something happened to Pollard, he could carry the fort for 2 or 3 games. Like, he could be your bell cow until Spears comes back.
Well, all the NFL cuts should be official coming up here shortly. 3HL's up next. We'll take you through everything from there. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.